Over the last 30 days, I've spent $1,000 every single day on a roofing ad campaign for one of my clients. And the results, let's just say most roofing companies would murder for these numbers. Most people think when you scale up a roofing campaign to this point that your lead cost is gonna shoot up, your appointment cost is gonna shoot up. Now, that is true only if you suck at running ads and you don't know how to scale ads to this point. So today, I'm gonna show you the results of this campaign, how we scaled it up to this point, and I'm gonna give you the exact strategies and frameworks that we used in order to profitably scale this ad campaign. And if you've never seen me before, I'm Cole. I'm one of the co-founders of NCT Media. Basically, we've helped over 200 roofing companies across the United States scale their business by providing them qualified, booked appointments on their sales team's calendars using various different marketing strategies that we use and that we also give away for free on our YouTube channel. All right, so let's dive into the exact campaign, show you the results on the $1,000 a day campaign over a 30-day time period. Now, this campaign is in a decently competitive market, so the results are honestly really, really solid. All right, so let me show you the campaign. So first off, we got what's on the ads manager. So you can see over a 30-day time period, it's actually 29, but that's fine. We generated 550 leads at $47 cost per lead, which is a little higher than I would like, but it's still solid, and $26,000 in spend. And let's see how these converted in terms of estimates, right? How many estimates did we book? So you can see down here, we generated 225 estimates. This is a little spreadsheet that we have of the campaign for the client. So that's around a 50%, actually that's 50% on the dot booking rate from leads to booking. So actually really phenomenal booking rate. And that brings us to around a I believe that's $94 booking cost. So very good booking costs. Lead cost is a little high, but booking cost is phenomenal. And that's because our booking rate is great. So those are the results of the campaign. So overall, if we just look at the more important number, which is our booking costs and our booking rate, very successful campaign. So let me show you exactly the structure that we used on the campaign in order to achieve this. So this is actually one of the biggest mistakes I see people make when they scale up their ad accounts. And this is the reason why you have such high rising costs. Basically, when you're running an ad campaign at, let's say, $200 per day, you have your ad set with 1 to 3 ads, typically 2 to 3, but let's say 1 to 3 ads, you have that ad set, and it's spending $200 a day, right? Which isn't a whole lot, okay? And what Facebook does is it will have your little audience size of people that are more likely to convert. So this is just the super dialed in audience right here, right? But what happens when you scale that ad set to, let's say, around $500 per day, it's going to first go to that same audience, right? That same dialed in audience, and it's going to show everybody your ads here. And it will probably burn through this audience within days, depending on the size of your market, but it will burn through it in days. So it fatigues, right? So it shows everybody that ad multiple times, and now conversions will start to drop off because everyone in that dialed in audience has already seen the ad, and the people that convert. The people that don't typically won't convert, seeing it a second or a third time. So now what's Facebook gonna do? Facebook is going to expand and take that excess budget to a less dialed in audience, right? Less dialed. So it's spending the same amount of dollars that it would here in your less dialed audience. So now your conversions are worse, right? Your cost per click's worse. Your lead cost is worse. So what happens? Your costs go up. So costs shoot up, right? So this is pretty much a simplified way to explain audience saturation and creative fatigue, okay? So this is typically what happens when people just scale up that same ad set with 1 to 3 ads. And now you're really struggling because now you need to make more creatives, you need to catch up on your creative fatigue, and you're seeing creative fatigue within days, okay? So what do we do to prevent this? How can we juice this dialed in audience more before expanding to this less dialed in audience? And basically, that's where our campaign structure solves this entire issue. We basically, let's say we have that $200 per day ad set with the 2 to 3 ads in it, right? We keep that the same, right? We're not increasing the budget on this. When we want to scale up, what do? Now, we add a new ad set that's $200 per day with a completely different set of 2 to 3 ads. And now what happens? Now what happens is you're dispersing your budget. You're allowing Facebook to show these 2 to 3 ads to your dialed in audience. So that's staying in that little audience that we have. Oops, that looks horrible. That little audience right there. And then these new ads, it basically disperses, and it's gonna show that same dialed in audience of people likely to convert those 2 to 3 ads, and it's gonna spread out your budget across more ads, which will allow the fatigue to take longer to occur. So now, instead of trying to play catch up with your fatigue every couple of days, every 4 or 5 days, now basically what you have here is you have an ad set that will probably last you 2 to 3 weeks, maybe more if your creatives are dialed in. That's basically the structure we have. So what do we need to see if we're doing, $1,000 a day in spend? We need a whole 5 different ad sets. I'm not gonna draw that all out, but now we need 5 ad sets. And what does that calculate out to? 5 ad sets, and that means around 10 to 15 ads. And these can't just be okay ads, right? These need to be winning ads, like good ads, right? Because what happens when you have a big ad set of, let's say, 5 ads, Facebook chooses the best one. So 4 of those could be shit. So basically, when you have those 5 ads in one singular ad set with, let's say, a $400 budget or something, 4 of those ads could suck and 1 of those could be good. Same applies when you have 10 to 15 ads, right? You could miss on 14 of them, but if 1 is good, you are good. But we still have that same issue of the creative fatigue, because it's gonna be burning through that 1 ad with those large budgets in a couple of days. So now, with 5 different ad sets and 2 to 3 ads, you need to have at least 5 winning ads at a time, which sounds easy, but it's not. It's not the easiest thing to do to have a bunch of winning ads. So this brings me to the most important strategy that you need to have in order to scale your ad campaigns up. I know a lot of people are like, duh, obvious, but it isn't as obvious as it sounds. And that is simply do more. That's it, do more, right? Because I just explained the campaign structure that you need to have is you need to have a ton of winning ad creatives in order for your campaigns to work at scale, because you need to disperse your budget and you need to disperse the creative fatigue across multiple ad sets. So what does that mean? That means you need to make more winning creatives. That means you need to make more creatives, because you're gonna miss on, let's say, half of your creatives are bad. So if you need 15 winning creatives at a time, 10 to 15 winning creatives at a time, that means you need to make 20 to 30 creatives, I would say, on a monthly or bi-weekly basis. Again, depends on your market size. You need to find the speed of fatigue there, but it's better to have an excess amount of creatives. You want to be in a creative surplus, not a creative deficit. That means you need to make more ads, right? So let me kind of share with you how we do it at NCT. So we're spending tens of thousands of dollars a day on ads for our clients. So how do we do this? And we have a team, an entire team built out that is solely dedicated to producing winning creatives. They take past creatives that are working and we repurpose them, we recreate them, we make them different. We also make new creatives. We test those creatives out, see if they work. If they work, then we just make them again and again and again, and we repeat that process. And we're producing like 30 creatives a week at least, okay? Across our entire client base, we need to produce 30 creatives per week in order to maintain good costs at scale. So you need a similar system in place. Whether you hire 1 person or 2 people that write and make your creatives, you need to have people hired that are producing creatives non-stop for you, okay? So you need to have what I call a creative production system, okay? And basically what this looks like, and what we like to do, is at the start of each week, we put in a quota for, let's say, 30 creatives, 30 ads, okay? And what happens is they get scripted by our copywriter, and then they get produced by our creative producer, and then they get, so it goes quota, scripted, produced, and then lastly, they get edited. And then by the time they're edited, it's probably Friday, maybe Saturday, and we have 30 creatives to run that get sent to our media buyer. So that's our ads guy that actually runs the ads, does all the technical campaign setups and all that good stuff. So that's the process we have in place. And we have this running on a weekly basis. And I just want to put this in perspective. We are doing this in order to maintain good costs and good results for our clients. So you need to have this system in place if you want to scale. If you want to stay at $100 a day and spend, yeah, you could get away with you making your own creatives every month. But if you actually want to scale and you actually want to be serious about this, you need to have a creative production system in place, and you need to have teams and people in place in order to scale up your campaigns. The solution, it's the hard truth, but the solution to scaling an ad campaign is doing more and making more creatives. It's not your targeting. It's not having some special ad campaign set up with, interest targeting and Advantage Plus and this and that. I promise to you that stuff does not matter that much. It is minuscule. Maybe gives you an extra 5%, maybe, which is huge, but it's something that you shouldn't focus on. The biggest lever to have is to produce creatives nonstop and to always have the best creatives on the market. Because what happens is if you have the best creative on the market, then everyone is going to click on your ad and you are going to steal all the leads from your competitors because their creatives are inferior. So that's pretty much it. Very simple stuff. It's kind of just a hard truth that you need to understand is you just need to do more if you want to actually scale up. I promise you, you're not capping out your market. I promise you, it's not impossible to scale. You just need to do more and you need to break that limiting belief and just make more creatives like I said, and I promise you'll be able to get this system figured out and you'll be able to scale to the point where you're spending thousands of dollars a day in your market. So if you're interested in checking out other videos, we go over how to make creatives, we go over offers, sales, all of the above when it comes to roofing, front-end marketing, all that stuff. Check out our videos, stay tuned, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.